Sometimes you walk through life alone, wondering if anyone understands what you are going through, hoping someone will listen and offer a word to make your day. The Church of God of Prophecy offers unconditional love and support, regardless of what you are going through. Visit cogop.ca for a location near you. The Church of God of Prophecy, developing authentic disciples of Christ.
Good evening and welcome to another segment of Let's Talk. I'm your host, Woodroe Thompson. Today is a very special day. It is special because we're celebrating one of God's greatest gifts to us, and that's the gift of motherhood, mothers. We'd like to dedicate the segment of Let's Talk to all our mothers. We have mothers that belong to the nuclear family, single mothers, stepmothers, foster mothers, grandmothers, spiritual mothers, mothers of all categories. There is no more influential or powerful role on the earth than a mother's role. As significant as military, political, educational, or religious public figures may be, none can compare with the impact made by mothers. Their words are never fully forgotten. Their touch leaves an indelible impression, and memory of their presence lasts a lifetime. If you're blessed with a good mother, you'll reap the benefits for the rest of your life, whether it's for good or bad. A mother's work is permanent. For the past 14 months, moms have been juggling work, home, family, teaching, coaching, and so much more. And today we just want to give a shout out to all the mothers to let you know how much we love and appreciate you. Today we want to take time out to love and appreciate you as mothers. My guest today is a mom. She's a professional event planner, inspirational speaker, community advocate, and a pet podcaster. In 2020, she launched VictorySpeaks podcast, providing listeners with the tools to be mentally fit. In addition, she launched VictorySpeak online show, where she hosts inspired conversation series. She has worked to raise awareness on affordable housing issues with organizations such as Cooperative Housing Federation of Canada. She's passionate on issues related to violence against women, mental health, and issues affecting the Black community. She was named one of the 100 Black accomplished Canadian women and highlighted as one of the 150 women in Canada by the Hustle's Her Story in Black series. My guest is none other than Nicole Waldron. Welcome to Let's Talk.
Thank you, Bishop. It's so great to be here on this special day.
What does it feel like to be on the other side of the camera?
It's quite different to be on the other side of the camera, you know. I like being on the other side orchestrating, but I love this side because the conversations really inspire me.
Very good. So how have you been doing over the past year with COVID-19? How have you been coping, you and your family?
You know what? It hasn't been too bad. The isolation. I'm naturally an introvert, and people don't think I am an introvert,
Right.
but an ambivert, one would say, because I can blossom in the limelight, but I like being with myself. And finding the opportunities in the crisis. We have to find the opportunities in the crisis, and that's what I've been able to do. The P word this year has been pivot, but before pivot, there was some pain. And in the pain,
Right.
you find purpose, and that's when you pivot, right? You got to find a perspective. So I found some perspective and, launched my podcast and opened myself back up to some dreams that I had put down to sit down for a long time, started back my speaking. So, and hosting shows. So it's been good in some ways. It's challenging work-wise because as an event planner, that's not really happening, but
Right.
God is good. He continues to provide.
Very good. Now, I like the word opportunities. We have to look for opportunities even in the difficult time. Well, when I look at your bio, you're involved in so many different things. I'm always interested to know someone's story. What got you to this place where you're involved in so many things? What was the journey like to this place?
I come from a family of servant leaders, from my grandfather, to my mother, to my father, to my aunts, back in Trinidad and Tobago. They have all been servant leaders, always serving the community, leading political parties, and getting involved in community and giving back. So it's
Right.
just rooted in me. And 27 years ago, I moved into a co-op, and that just changed my life, and I became an advocate for co-op housing. And 5 years ago, my son was in a bike accident, and that propelled me into the mental health world in a different way than I never expected. And so, that's just part of the journey, but those are just two main things that have, really pushed me into where I am now. you know
Very good. Now, I'm hoping your son is doing a lot better now.
He's doing better than he was, but we still have the challenges, because after traumatic brain injury, you're not the same. But I
Right.
really do believe, and I shouldn't say but, however, I do believe God will heal his brain, because our brain is our mind and our mind is our brain.
Right.
And the brain, with neuroplasticity, it has the ability to renew and grow. As you know, renew our mind with the mind of Christ is an actual thing. It's an actual physical thing. Our minds can actually be renewed. It's because the neurons and everything's in the different chemicals in our brain, and the nerve endings in our brain can actually be regenerated. So I'm believing that one day he's going to be right back to 100, no turning
Very
back.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. And we're believing with you for that.
Thank you.
Now, did you have to just do some research on mental health and start learning about mental health, or that was something you're involved in before?
Well, here's the funny story. When I came up here at 18 going on 19, I wanted to be a child psychologist.
Wow.
Long story short, that didn't happen. But I
Hmm.
always found myself always providing counsel and advice. And so, becoming a life coach and doing it's just natural for me. And wanting to help people. And the mind has always fascinated me. The brain fascinates me. So
Right.
I may not have the gumption to become a neuroscientist, but I have a love of how the intricacy of the brain works. I'm always fascinated and still fascinated with it.
Very good. Now, I realize that you're a single mother. Today's Mother's Day. We're celebrating motherhood. And as you know, single mothers face a unique set of challenges, financial challenges, emotional challenges. The challenges are so many, it's difficult to unpack all that's happening with single women, especially. How have you coped and how have you handled the challenges that come your way? I'm sure that there's some mothers at home watching us. They're in the same position as you are, and they're feeling weary, they're feeling frustrated. How have you handled the challenges of being a single mother, single parent?
It takes a village, and the way that I did
Very
it
good.
was with the village. The village is what helped me to be sustained, to help me to move ahead.
Right,
Without that village, I wouldn't be here right now. My faith in God, and there has been rough days. There have been many, many rough days. But
right,
as a single parent, you have to give yourself grace. You have to show yourself some self compassion. And I didn't always ask for help when I
right,
should have. And so it requires a level of humility. And I would say to any mother out there, stop, see where you need help, whether it's, the emotional, the school, you're not sure what to do, reach out to the village, and you'll be surprised who will want to help you. And those that
right,
are not for you, you just leave them along the way. It took me a long time to learn some of the lessons I know now, but now, because I've learned those lessons, I know I can help another mother, even though I didn't do certain things the way I wanted to. Now I
right,
know, okay, I can say to another mother, here's how you can do it. But the village, the iron sharpens iron, right? And so if you keep hitting, an iron keeps hitting against wood, it's going to get dull. And so if you keep hitting yourself against the wall, you're going to get dull. So you got to go to someone who is made of the same material as you, and even better, to get sharpened. And that's why you need your village. That's why you need your iron sharpeners. You need to have discernment to figure out who's who. Write a vision statement, not just for your business. Write a vision statement for your family. Write a vision statement for each area of your life. If it's 7 areas,
right,
your spiritual, your physical, your mental, you have to write it down. You have to be intentional in that. And as you're being intentional in that, that's when you can cultivate it, right? And then you can be transformed by the renewing of your mind, as we would say. And along the journey as a mom, remember to celebrate it, the small wins, the big wins. And there's going to be times where you need to be restored. And as
Right.
again I said, you have to yield to the process. Now, what I just shared with you is the steps to victory. And that's what victory means. It's for me, those are the affirmations that I had to build and recognize that's how you live a life of victory. You don't have to cross the finish line first. You just have to cross the finish line as your best self. And your best self will look different today and tomorrow or yesterday. And don't
That
live in
is
regret. Don't live in
wow.
regret.
Wow, that is powerful advice for our single mothers. Now, you're also a community advocate.
Yes.
Someone may ask, what's the role of a community advocate?
But it is to really advocate for others, for other people in your community. So for me, housing, everybody has a right to affordable housing. In Canada,
Right,
housing is not a right in Canada,
right,
strangely enough. And being in a co-op with mixed income housing and is that community living, I saw the beauty in it. And I saw people being able to thrive and grow. And then when I think about, I have friends who have sickle cell and their children have sickle cell. How could I sit by and not speak up when they need someone to speak up? And it's just, I guess it's just something natural for me. When I see somebody down, I want to help because I put myself as much as possible in that person's shoes, even though I'm not wearing that shoe. I don't have sickle cell, but I have friends. I can see their pain. In mental health, I can see other mothers. I can see other fathers. I can see that we're struggling. And if I get information, it is my responsibility as a servant leader to share, to be to want to give. And as I build somebody up, I build myself up. And as I build myself up, I build you up. So, it's part to me, that's love in action, right? That's what love
So,
does.
as a community advocate and as a woman of color, what are some of the challenges you face as you're doing advocacy work?
you know, you know, you come into some rooms where sometimes that you may be looked down upon, not taken
Right,
seriously, um, be seen as the angry black woman. Sometimes you have to I've had to go, listen, and I've recognized that sometimes I have to say, you may mistake my passion for anger. This is not anger,
right,
and I may
hmm,
have to explain myself. But that's
right,
okay because I recognize that I rather explain myself and do the fight than
right.
not explain myself sometimes and be taken the wrong way. And then after I do that, you take me the wrong way, then that's your situation. But the word says you got to give them the message, and what they do with it, that's not your problem. But you give it in love, you give it in respect, and you give it in honor. That's what I try to do in my advocacy. I will fight the fight. I'll get down and I'll get dirty, but it's at the end of the day, it's for the upliftment of us all, so we
Very
can be
good.
a better society, and better human beings in this earth.
Very good. Well, Nicole, we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Please do not leave. We have some great things coming up.
I'll try not to leave.
On the Let's Talk television program, we share solutions to real life problems with real people, showing how faith guides everyone through the storms of life. We talk about tough issues that affect all generations. Our conversations help you learn, grow, and lead. Help us continue with this great work by partnering with us today. Call 905-625-1278, extension 233, or visit letstalkca.org. We look forward to your partnership with us to change lives. Let's Talk, revealing the heart of Christ through engaging media conversations.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. My guest is Nicole Waldron. Nicole, what was the vision for the podcast Victory Speaks? Now, you did mention some things regarding that, but why Victory Speaks?
Well, first off, Nicole means victory of the people.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, yes. And so I've had Victory Speaks for a long time, but never used it as a podcast. And,
Ah,
my acronym under my name would be Voice of Victory. And so last year, as I was sitting down, and the year before, probably to about 2 years before, I was trying to register Victory Speaks and it wasn't available. And
okay.
last year, 2 o'clock in the morning, there I was, and I could just feel it in my spirit. Go check go check GoDaddy. And I went to GoDaddy and it was there and registered it. And last year I just started doing lives. I couldn't shut up. There was just something I was like, and as soon as I would finish, I would just be empty. But there was just urgency in my spirit that I just had to go, go, go. And now it's just morphing into something that was a podcast, into a show. And on Mondays, it's an inspired conversation. Um, and I've also added on Mondays, at least once a month, bringing on trailblazers in the now, celebrating people, the mature people in our society that are in their prime of their life. And I want to give them their flowers now. And Wednesday, we've morphed into Wellness Wednesday, and it's about
Wow.
minding our mind, and it's about mental health and wellness. And we're going to be adding another piece for families, for caregivers of those with mental health and addictions. And so the show
Right.
is morphing, and we'll see. God gave me 5 shows, and I'm like, okay, you're going to give me the time. I'm just like, okay, I'm just here doing what you're telling me to do.
Now, that is great what you're doing. And I realize that you're passionate on the issues regarding mental health, violence against women. I read an article that said that during COVID-19, well, this was happening before, but especially during COVID-19, women were experiencing violence in the family. Now, as you know, that there's some women who feel like there's no help, there's nothing they can do, there's nowhere to go. What would you say to women watching us that are experiencing those things? What are some of the things that they need to consider, or some of the things they can do?
They need to consider an exit plan. Start building a plan. Start
Wow.
finding ways to have at least one person that can help you build this exit plan. It may mean that you may have to call an agency. There's so many agencies out there right now that can help you, that you can call anonymously. There are signals that are being built, that different companies have put together, and maybe one of the things we can do is probably get some resources,
Right.
and we can put it together for people to call. Call
Right.
the shelter. Dr. Ross Healing Place, the Red Door. There's so many shelters that one can call, and even if they're full, they can tell you what you can do. Um, you know, and you need to get the help before it's too late. You don't want to wait till it's too late, and especially if you have children. And it's scary. It's scary when somebody is either
Yes.
physically abusing you, mentally abusing you, and that's the piece that a lot of people miss. The emotional abuse is so hard. And then you have some women that are financially abused, where they have
Yes.
no money.
Hmm.
And and let me tell you something. Some of the financially abused women are women that are looking wealthy on the outside. Their husbands have the money, but they can't get a dime unless their
Right.
husband gives it to them.
Right.
So there's so many women are being held hostage right now, and especially in the pandemic, there's very little escape. There's really nowhere for them to go if they can't leave. So we have to be so mindful of in this pandemic that we need to find creative ways to get women into safe places.
That same article mentioned that women, whether they're abused or not, they're also wrestling with mental health issues. Just like you mentioned, shelters. What are some of the resources that are available for women who are suffering with mental issues?
So, with your mental health as well as your physical health, but with your mental health, you really have to take care of it. And CAMH has a family resource center with a
Right.
list of resources that
Okay.
you can tap into. And they can guide you. You don't have to be a patient at CAMH. That's what people fail to realize. Sunnybrook also has some resources,
Okay.
and you got to just tap into them. If you are a young person and you're feeling whether you're suicidal, whether you're feeling the pressures of life and it's school, as just Stella's Place, which is very different than like a hospital. There's Sasha Bear. There are different resources out there, and the good thing about it is, right now you can get some free help as well, like places like Bounce,
Right.
that you can call and say, listen, I need to talk to someone. Um, so, I would say, go to CAMH Family Resource Center, and they have the full list. Check out the Family Voice newsletter, and
Right.
the resources are there. And I will be sure to give it to your folks so that they could share the links as well.
That would be great. Now, you mentioned earlier about affordable housing, and that's something that some in our Black community are wrestling with. where would they start? What's the process in trying to find affordable housing?
That's a tough question. And depending on what part of Canada you're
Right,
in Toronto right now, they have amalgamated the list for co-op housing and TCHC. And actually, that list, that organization has been revamping over the last week or two.
right,
And it's now going to be called, I think it's Access Toronto. And you have to follow up on your application every year.
right,
They've put some new rules in, and we as a community have to be very mindful that some of the rules are stricter.
right,
Um, and they've put some things in place for seniors and stuff that seniors, they say seniors should be able to, they have resources that they can be able to get to, but everything is going to be email based. I have a lot of concerns about the new system that they're putting in
right.
place because it puts people who are marginalized, people who may not have access to a cell phone or email. How do they get to the list? And so they say, well, they can go to the library, but right now they can't go to the library.
They can't go to
So
left. All right.
don't even start me on that because the show will end and I'll be like my hair will get redder right on screen. It's my new pet peeve that I'm like, yeah, yeah.
I understand. You know, when I think about the issues that we face in the Black community, sometimes I wonder if there's hope for those in the Black community. Do you think there's hope? We're talking about mental health. We're talking about housing. We're talking about violence against women. Do you think there's hope for us in the Black community?
There's always hope.
Yeah.
With God, there's always hope.
Right.
We know hope deferred makes the heart sick, and so we have to recognize that. But when your hope is restored and replenished, it's the beauty, it's the heart of life. And
Right.
so the hope comes when we continue to advocate. The hope comes when we continue to lift our voices. The hope comes when we come together and don't give up and recognize that there's been a lot of progress been made. And don't stay in, okay, what oh my God, the negative. Let's focus on what the solutions, and don't get tired, don't get weary in well doing. Go and find some way to replenish yourself. Last week I was getting weary, so you know what I did? I took a mental health break in mental health week, and I
Oh,
shut
I
it
love
down.
that.
I shut down the show. I shut it down. It's my show. I can shut it down. If you didn't like the fact that I couldn't get back to you on an email, that's okay, because my mental health was necessary for me to continue the work that I do, and to inspire others, and for me to even smile here today despite
Right.
it's a challenging day,
Right.
so it's all good, but we have to have hope. Without hope, we're just going to be a really dull and tired people.
Well, hope is one of those words in the Christian community that we hold on to. But I know that there are people listening to us who are not people of faith. What would you say to them? Because it seemed like faith has played a large part in your life in not only getting you to where you're at, but in helping you each day. What would you say to someone who they say, well, I'm not religious, I don't believe in that stuff. What would you say to them?
I would say to you, you need to start looking at you, finding your identity. Now,
Right,
it's how you start your morning. Look at your morning. When you wake up in the morning, take that breath and recognize that breath means that you have something else to do today, that
right,
you matter. And if you can't find it for yourself, call a friend, call that iron sharpener, call that Peloton and say, I am feeling down. You have to come to that place of humility and say, I need help. I cannot do this alone. I am feeling depressed, because if you allow yourself to go deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, it's going to be harder for you to get up. You know, it's to recognize that your life has a purpose, and it's not about the job that you do. It's about the person that you are. Your
right,
failures, the things that you may call failures or you may call mistakes, are just learning opportunities along the way. You have to redefine how you look at your life. You have to
right,
redefine how you look at yourself. And sometimes you cannot do it alone. And it's not, and you don't, and even if you don't believe in God, that's okay at this moment.
right,
Find a life coach, find a friend. You just need one person that can help you come out of it. Get a therapist, call a helpline, and don't try to do it alone, especially when you're feeling so down. Because remember, your mind is your brain and your brain is your mind. So as you think negative, it is dampening your brain cells. And so you need to bring light into it. Find things to make you laugh, find things to bring you joy. Start your day with intention. What it is that you want to meditate on life, find a scripture, find a song. I have a friend, she finds music every morning and she finds a song and she dances every single morning.
Wow. That's
And
great.
that has changed her life. She does it intentionally. You have to find the vision and the
Uh,
affirmation. Let me just say this. The affirmation, don't just say an affirmation. You have to have a vision with the affirmation and believe it's going
right.
to come through.
Right. Now, I'm a minister and I believe in the church. What are some of the things that you think, because you mentioned community, make sure you're not alone, find a community, people in the community that can help you. How can the church community help folks who are dealing with mental health, violence, and some of the things that we mentioned? How can the church play an active part and an active role in some
Bishop,
of those
we're
things?
gonna need another half hour for this. We're gonna need you opened a
I
Pandora's
open a can
box
of
now.
worms.
Oh my God. Okay, in a nutshell, the church has to humble itself. The church
Right,
has to get to the place where they go out into their congregation and
right.
ask the questions and recognize that mental health is a real issue.
Yeah.
Don't, it's not just something, the same way we pray for people with cancer, with a heart attack, and
Yes.
then say, go to the doctor. We
Yeah.
have to do the same thing with our mental health. What
Mhm.
I say to you is, our mind is our brain and our brain is our mind. Said
Right.
just from a neuroscientist. So treat people with respect, treat people with honor,
Yes.
and give them the help that they need. If you see a mom and you know that she's not doing well, ask her what she needs.
Right.
And you don't have to always ask her, just give her what she needs, because sometimes we recognize that people cannot ask because the shame that comes with
Right.
having a need,
Hmm.
we need to start giving from within before we give to it out. We need to start the food banks. We need to find places to say, okay, do you have a place to sleep tonight? How are you really doing? Stop, look, and listen. And as we
Right.
preach it from the pulpit, we have to give practical tools so that they can get the help that they need.
Right. Right. Well, you're correct. Would need an hour to talk about some of the things we're talking about to really unpack them. Now, Victory Speaks. Can you tell our viewers how they can be part of Victory Speaks?
Oh, very easily. Victory Speaks with an S. Victory Speaks 7 on Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. All the shows I do, I put it on YouTube. And Facebook, it's Victory Speaks 77. Tune in Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. And I have a podcast that speaks about the Victory Speaks formula on Anchor, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. And it's just called Victory Speaks with an S.
So today's Mother's Day. The day's not yet finished. What one word would you like to leave with our mothers before you go?
Love yourself. Practice
Very
self love.
Very good. Well, Nicole, it was a pleasure having you. We'll have to have you back because there's so much we could talk about. God bless you and all the best for you and your son and for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you as well.
Thank you. Well, it was a pleasure having Nicole Waldron with us. I'd like for you to check out her podcast and her online show. You'll be blessed. You've heard the many things she's involved in. And I'd like for you to tap into that because she has a lot of resources that will be beneficial to you, especially today being Mother's Day for our mothers, especially our single mothers. You need to check that out. I'd like to thank you for joining us today. Remember to love and appreciate our mothers today and always. Those of us who have lost our mothers, let us reflect and cherish the good memories we have of them. Those who have lost a child, children, our prayers are with you, and may you be comforted during this time as you mourn the loss. Those who have children who are away from home, you don't know where they are. Your hearts are broken. Our hearts break with you, and our prayers are with you. And we pray that God will continue to bless you. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube page. Please pray for the ministry. And also, we're dependent on your financial gifts, and you can send your gifts to donate@cogop.ca. God bless you. Our prayers continue to be with you. That's all the time we have for today. Mothers, enjoy the rest of the day. God bless you. We'll see you next time.
On the Let's Talk television program, we share solutions to real-life problems with real people, showing how faith guides everyone through the storms of life. We talk about tough issues that affect all generations. Our conversations help you learn, grow, and lead. Help us continue with this great work by partnering with us today. Call 905-625-1278, extension 233, or visit letstalkca.org. We look forward to your partnership with us to change lives. Let's Talk, revealing the heart of Christ through engaging media conversations.
Sometimes you walk through life alone, wondering if anyone understands what you are going through, hoping someone will listen and offer a word to make your day. The Church of God of Prophecy offers unconditional love and support, regardless of what you are going through. Visit cogop.ca for a location near you. The Church of God of Prophecy, developing authentic disciples of Christ.